Hello everybody and welcome back to another new video, and this is going to be another music update video with some recent pickups. And honestly, I haven't picked up that many records since Record Store Day, but I still have a handful of them to show you for this video, and as usual, some new stuff, some older stuff as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. And before getting started, big thanks again to DJ Trish. I got some VCLT from her. I got 3 mix CDs from Trish to get me ready for this summer. I got Eclectic Grooves 23 number 1. I also got Cocktail Hour 2023. A nice pint of beer there. And Eclectic Grooves 23 number 2, the follow-up to number 1. And I haven't played this ones yet, but I do look forward to playing this ones. These mixes from Trish are always great and fun to listen to. Just play, especially in the summer. Now that you can hang out outside, I'm gonna have to bring my boombox out to my balcony and play this mix CDs from Trish. There's the track list. All right, let's move on to the records. This is the one that I talked a little bit about in my one of my last few videos when I did my video about Record Store Day. And I told you that I didn't pick up this one because it was just so expensive. I finally found it on eBay for a decent price. It was about $15 lower than what they were asking on Record Store Day. So it paid off to wait a little bit. But finally got this one, Pixies. With Doolittle live in Brussels from 2009. Great looking record. And this one came out in just this year in 2023. Of course, recorded in 2009 on Demon Records. I'm glad that I finally found it because it's gonna go really good with this one right here. The one that came out the year before, also on Record Store Day. This one's live at Coachella from 2004, I think. And so as you can see, the artwork is pretty similar in both of them. I'm kind of hoping that they will do at least a trilogy of records like this with this same type of artwork. Maybe since they already did one in North America at Coachella, now with this one in Europe and Brussels, maybe the next one will be somewhere in Australia or South America. That would be great. I would definitely buy the trilogy of records if they do come up with one like that, because I really like the artwork in this ones. This one came in on a double LP, and records came in with different colors. So I'll show you both of them. One of them came in kind of like a clear green. And the second one came in on kind of like a clear blue vinyl. There it is. The custom labels. Great looking records. They sound great as well. Yeah, and I finally found out why these records were so expensive. Because they were asking for like $50 on Record Store Day. If you look at the hype sticker, you'll see Record Store Day UK. So these were imports. They didn't make them, I guess, for the US market. They just brought them for Record Store Day. So I think that's why they were a little bit more expensive. And the inner sleeves were kind of basic, just the credits and the classic Pixies logo and the other side. Same as the last one in Coachella. They should have made this logo a lot bigger. Why do they make it so small? The Pixies have one of the best logos in rock music ever. They should use it more often. Anyways, live at Brussels, the Pixies playing Doolittle in its entirety from start to finish. Doolittle is my favorite album of all time, so I have to have this one. I actually saw the Pixies when they played in this tour. Not in this at this venue, of course, but I did see them when they played in Charlotte, in North Carolina. And I remember, I think I mentioned this in one of my videos before, but I remember when I went to see them for that tour, you could pay $20 before getting into the venue, and you would get this at the end of the show, which is a live recording from the show that you went to see them at that show. You just have to wait in line for a little bit after the show, but you will get this. And it's a double disc. It almost looks like a bootleg, but it is not. It's an official release for Pixies. As you can see, it was recorded in 2010, so a little bit after the one there from Brussels. 2 discs. This one's really good as well. Very similar. I think the track lists were almost the same. So this one, the track lists were actually really interesting for this record, or for this whole tour, because they, like I said before, they played the entire album Doolittle from front to finish, but they didn't start with the very first song of the album. They started with 5 of the B-sides from the record, or from the Doolittle era. So they started with Dancing the Manta Ray, Weirded Out by School, Bailey's Walk, Manta Ray, and then after that, they played the opening track of the record, Debaser, which has got to be the best, the greatest opening track of any album in rock history, in my opinion. I always thought why they didn't open with Debaser for this tour, but I think that's a good thing. I think they were so confident about their music that they just didn't care about starting off with Debaser. They just went on to play the B-sides, the songs that didn't make it to the album in the very beginning. That's how confident they were on this tour. Start off with the leftover tracks and then move on to the actual album. And then at the end, of course, they played some of the hits like Where's My Mind, Into the White, UMass, Vamos, and Gigantic. There's the track list in case you want to see it. All right, up next, this is a record that I picked up at a concert a few weeks ago, Laura Jane Grace, and this is a 10-inch EP called At War with the Silverfish. Really cool to see a 10-inch EP, because you don't see that many 10 inches anymore. I don't know why. Just a 7-track EP, so there's a track list. The insert came in with words in one side and the picture of Laura Jane Grace in the other. And the record, I was surprised to see that it was actually in color vinyl. I wasn't expecting that. It just came in on kind of like a maroon, marbled vinyl with the custom labels. Yes, it's just a 7-track EP from Laura Jane Grace. I'm a big fan of her. When I went to see her live, I went to the merch table and I actually have both of her solo albums that were selling there. The only thing that was missing was this one, so I picked it up. Yeah, 7 tracks. They seem to be, or they sound to me kind of like leftover tracks from her last album, Stay Alive, which by the way was excellent. Definitely an eclectic mix of songs where you can tell that she was experimenting with different sounds in those tracks. I wouldn't call it experimental, but she was definitely trying new things in these tracks. It sounds very different to the tracks in her album Stay Alive, so I can tell why she left those out from that record. But anyways, there's some really cool songs in here. Definitely check it out. It's a short listen. Most of the songs are very, very short, like less than 2 minutes in length. My favorites in this one were Lolo 13, Day Old Coffee, which is a great, very Laura Jane Grace kind of track, and the last track, Yesterday Part 2. Definitely check out those tracks. Again, Laura Jane Grace with At War with the Silverfish.
Day old coffee, microwave the boiling, poured on my eyeballs and boil my dumb-shaped brains out.
All right, up next, I also picked up a couple of the recent reissues from the Pinhead Gunpowder Discography Club from 1234 Go Records. So 1234 Go Records, for the last couple of years, they have been in the process of reissuing the entire catalog of records from Pinhead Gunpowder, punk rock band from California. Love that band, love all the records, so I've been picking them up as they have been releasing them for the last couple of years. And the last 2 that I needed from the Discography Club were these 2. Shoot the Moon, and Compulsive Disclosure. So let's take a look at this one right here first. This one's Shoot the Moon by Pinhead Gunpowder. And this one came out originally in 1999 on Adeline Records. This reissue, of course, came out just the last year in 2022 on 1234 Go Records. Excellent EP. I actually have a copy of the original one of Shoot the Moon that came out on Adeline Records. Here's the original one. It looks exactly the same as far as the artwork. But in the new one, they actually added a few more tracks that didn't make it to the original one. That's the only difference between those two, and that's what I wanted to get this reissue, because it includes a couple of songs that you can't find anywhere else, really. And there's the back. The back cover also looks the same. And as usual, when Pinhead Gunpowder releases something on vinyl, they give you a very small booklet, kind of like a CD-sized booklet. And you get all the lyrics. And the record itself came in on really cool looking vinyl, color vinyl. So what they did is that they have been saving some of the special color vinyl editions to see for the Discography Club members. And they had some left over after they shipped all of them. So since they had some left over, they decided to sell them to the general public, and of course I picked one of those up. Great looking splatter, blue, black, and white vinyl. And the labels right there are really cool looking as well. And there's a track list. Yeah, this one's great. This one has some of the best Pinhead Gunpowder songs. Typical for them, so very fast-paced, very catchy, very aggressive, very short songs, the way that punk rock songs should be. But this one has a great track called, I think it's Asheville, near the end of the record. And Kathleen as well is really great. And it closes the EP with Aching to Be, which is a cover of The Replacements, of course. Great EP. Again, Shoot the Moon from Pinhead Gunpowder. The features, of course, the great Billy Joe Armstrong on guitars and vocals. But he is not the main guy in this band. The main guy in this band is actually the drummer, who's Aaron Cometbus. And he writes all the songs as well. The other one that I picked up was Compulsive Disclosure. And this one came out originally in 2003 on Lookout Records. And this reissue came out on 1234 Go Records, like I said. So I think this one was one of the later releases from Pinhead Gunpowder. I think one of their last releases. I remember because I actually bought the original one when it came out in 2003, but I got it on CD. I never got it on vinyl. And nowadays it's really hard to find it on vinyl. This is the original one that came out on Lookout Records. The now defunct Lookout Records. There's the Lookout logo there in the back. And they did the same thing as with Shoot the Moon. Since the songs are very short, and it's a very short EP, they just added a few extra tracks that I've never heard before, even though this record or album has been around for many years. I think they added the last track, On the Avenue and West Side Highway. Those two tracks, which actually made it to a 7-inch a few years back. I actually also own. One of these days I'm going to have to do a full video of my entire Pinhead Gunpowder collection, because I think now I finally have at least all their albums. Again, Pinhead Gunpowder on vinyl, where you get the booklet on CD size. This one's a little bit bigger than a CD size, actually. I don't know why they did it this way, but it has all the tracks, all the lyrics in the booklet. And they also included the lyrics for the songs that didn't make it in the original one, the ones that were added for this reissue. Great artwork as well. And the record also really cool splattered vinyl. Let's take a look. Splatter green and light green vinyl and the custom labels. Great looking record. Yeah, 1234 Go Records really did a fantastic job at reissuing the entire discography of Pinhead Gunpowder, which was really needed, because this is a terrific, absolutely amazing band. This record, very similar to Shoot the Moon, very fast-paced, very short songs, high energy, super catchy, everything that you would expect from Pinhead Gunpowder. Definitely check out the songs Black Mountain Part 3, Crazy Horse, and 2nd Street.
If I wanted to create a memorial large enough to walk through, like architecture linear, otherwise unfunctional, like a novel, like a story of your life.
All right, up next, this is the album that everybody in the VC has been showing for the last couple of months. Of course, I had to pick up the new Metallica album, 72 Seasons, and it came out on Black and Records. So a self-release for Metallica earlier this year in 2023. And I picked this one up only on CD. I don't really need a vinyl copy on this one because all the records or all the albums that I own from Metallica are all on CD in my collection. So to start a new vinyl collection for Metallica, it would just be too much. So I just picked it up on CD. It's fine for me. And everybody has shown this record before, so I won't show all the details about the packaging. But it does come with this really cool die cut here in the back. This is the most excited I've been about a new Metallica album probably since the Load and Reload era. I grew up watching the music videos from that era on MTV, and I really got into Metallica during that time, even right after Garage Incorporated was released. I loved that record of the covers. But everything after that, I kind of lost track of them. I didn't really like it that much. I guess I got more into punk than into metal. But the singles from this album, when I listened to them, I really got into them. They really got my attention. I told myself I have to pick this record up. So great album from Metallica. I really like it. Like everybody has been saying, maybe it's a little bit too long. I'm sure they could have cut a couple of songs here and there to make it a little bit more shorter. But overall, I think it's a really solid album. Not many ballads in this one. I don't remember hearing any ballads in this one. So it's very fast-paced, very rocking, very metal album. It sounds great as well. It's a very well-produced album. My favorites on this one are the title track, 72 Seasons, and the lead single from the album, Lux Eterna. Great tracks. In case you haven't, I'm sure almost everybody out there has listened to this album, but in case you haven't, definitely give a shot to the new Metallica. This album kicks ass. Okay, and last but not least, this is actually a thrift store find, which I was surprised to find something at the thrift store because I haven't found anything on vinyl in a very long time. This is the Best of Styx. And I love the album cover on this one. Actually, I just recently found out that the original one, this is a reissue, that the original copy of this one came in and it was completely different. It was the same image, but it was more of a realistic one. I'll try to put a picture here so you can take a look at the difference. This is a very 80s looking image. They definitely wanted to go with a more 80s vibe on the cover. Anyways, this one came out originally in 1977 on RCA Records. This is a reissue from 1980. And there's the back. And I'm not a massive Styx fan. I do like them. I have some of the records that I've also got from the thrift store before. But I do like their music. And whenever I see them for like $1 or $2, of course I'll pick it up. I mean, on black vinyl on the RCA labels. I was just reading about this record, and by the way, I told you that this was a reissue. This is the first time that I've seen in a record written in the back that it is a reissue. I've never seen that before. I don't know if it was a common thing back then, but it does say right here, reissue. I don't know if you can see it. Reissue compiled by Bruce Sommerfeld. Not sure who that is, but he compiled, or he put up this compilation from Styx, from the 70s output from the band. So this one has some tracks that they released in their first record label, which was called Wooden Nickel Records. And there's the track list there in the back. I wasn't sure what to expect on this one because I wasn't too familiar with the songs from Styx from the 70s. The only one that I knew was the very famous song Lady. Great track. But I actually was pleasantly surprised about the songs in this one. They were all really great. Very different to the 80s output or songs from Styx. So it doesn't have a lot of that 80s cheese like the Mr. Roboto thing, but it has killer guitar riffs, great guitar solos. The vocals are still similar to the ones from the 80s. Very, I guess, theatrical is what you call it. So this is great. I'm glad to add it to my collection, especially since I don't collect Styx records. I guess I don't have a lot of Styx records from that era. I'm glad to have at least this compilation from a lot of the songs from the 70s from Styx. Great find from the thrift store. So that's all I have to show you for this video, VC. Hope you enjoy that. Let me know in the comments what you have been picking up. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.